How's it going, guys? Desert Monk here again. Before we get into this, I wanted to ask you guys, throw down in the comments what your favorite drink is. I am pretty curious, and if I've never tried it, I'll give it a shot. What we'll be talking about today is a lot of metaphors related to water. Um, Water is very adaptable. So, a good way to look at it is your body and the world around you is a container. And that container, as life goes on, changes shapes and sizes and may get different lids that you need to take off. And then your spirit and your will is the water. So you need to have enough of that to fill whatever container life gives you that day. If you're able to fill that container with enough will and spirit and excitement for what you're doing, you'll feel fulfilled. You won't have that empty feeling that people run into throughout their lives of not doing enough or feeling like they're stuck. So, through little changes, you'll be able to do that. You have to first be willing to empty the container that you're given, to then refill it with what you need it to be filled with. You want to empty that container and pour out all of your ego. You have to let that go. You can't be too full of yourself or too prideful to really receive God's grace and better things in life, because you'll always have that bitterness filling up your container. And who wants to drink that? Not me. You also have to let go of any preconceived notions you have about life. A lot of people kind of box themselves in with just how they view the world. So one thing to consider is if you see the world the same. So if you're 20 years old and now you're 50, and you view the world exactly the same as you did when you were 20, you wasted 30 years. These things should change. You should be growing as life goes on and having a better understanding of why people do things that they do, why life isn't easy, why sometimes the struggles you run into are necessary to build a stronger person. You can't hold on to all that in your container and expect to still have room for what's good and what you need. So, very important to empty the container, dump the ego, dump the preconceived notions, and refill it. And you have to refill it with fighting spirit. You don't want to replace it with another bad thing. You don't want to replace it with regret or self-doubt. You have to put a good helping of the fighting spirit into your container. And what that's going to do is have you prepared for the next challenge. Life's hard. There's a lot of harsh conditions, and you want to be as prepared for that as you can. And the first step of that is letting go of the bad and replacing it with the good, the positivity, the can-do attitude. In my job, we don't like to give up. We ran into a couple tough issues throughout time where it's not as easy of a fix on the equipment we're working on as we thought. And we don't just tell the customer, you got a lemon, just buy a new machine. We stay there and we get it done. Whether it's hard or seems impossible, you have to continue the grind of pushing towards fixing that solution, because if you don't, it's never going to get done. You know, if you're an MMA fighter, for example, and you find yourself always people getting the better of you in sparring or in your competitions on the ground, are you supposed to just throw your hands in the air and never fix that and just hope that you don't get an opponent that's going to take you to the ground? No. You're going to train takedown defense, jiu-jitsu. You're going to work on that problem so it doesn't happen again. Because I guarantee you, life will take you to the ground again. And it's up to you to learn how to get back up and how to be prepared to keep that fight standing so you can be on your feet. So you can't just give up when a problem's hard. You have to fill your cup with the fighting spirit. And part of that is not surrendering, not retreating, going directly head on into your problem. And you can look at any problem you have in life as your next opponent. And what do fighters do when they have an opponent? Is they watch film, they study the tendencies of their opponent, and look for weak points. And that's what you have to do with any problem you have in life, is find the weak points of this problem and attack there and chip away at it until the problem's solved. There's no other way getting around it. You want to live your life as if you are water. You know, Bruce Lee said it, but I feel like sometimes it's people just say it as like a catchy thing, but it's kind of missed on what that means. Water is flowing. Water can change shape. So you want to flow around your obstacle, whatever that may be in life. You don't want to stay there stuck with this issue forever. You need to expand and spread around it until you find your next obstacle. Flowing water never goes stale. So same goes for your spirit. You know, you could stay stuck doing the same thing over and over and over, and you can become stale, stagnant. And you don't want that. You need to constantly challenge yourself in ways that excite you, ways that keep your energy flowing. It's good to have a routine, but to add things in there that make you excited for the next day is really the key. Like, it's necessary to truly feel whole, to fill that void of emptiness of like, I'm not doing enough in my life. You know, a lot of people are very content with where they are, but that can lead to being stagnant, and in the long run you become stale. So you want to flow just like water. That's very important. You just can't rest on the old you. You want to shed that skin and become the greater version of yourself, and that'll never happen without you pushing yourself and challenging yourself in ways that benefit you, you know, and it's not always going to feel good, but once you pop the lid off that container and you're able to flow out of it and get into a bigger container, what does that lead to? Happiness, and eventually another roadblock. But you'll be more prepared because you already proved to yourself that you have the fighting spirit to get past that. And that goes for anything in life. A test, a physical altercation, something's broken, cooking, you know, any of these things. Like, there's challenges that come with all this, and you have to have enough of the good stuff within you to be able to take on these tasks. So my final message is drop all the negativity, let go of it, and refill your container with the fighting spirit. I'm the Desert Monk. Be water, my friends.